Shh, shut the fuck up, everyone. Shh, it's a secret. How's it going, ladies and Brucers? I'm Bobby Sixkilla, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. It's been a few days since I've recorded this one, so it's gonna take a minute to get back into it, but I'm sure we will figure it out. That's right, we just made sort of a deal with the rich commoner guy. Forgotten. You and Sophia have accomplished a lot over the past year. The last straw now consists of half a dozen cells that know nothing about one another. You have several informers gathering rumours and news. Many citizens support your cause and are ready to help. The ranks of the underground society include honest rebels eager to bring the Empire down, as well as thieves and thugs willing to break any law as long as they get paid. As more and more people join your insurgency, rumours begin to spread throughout the city. It will soon become impossible to conceal your existence. The last straw desperately needs a public figurehead, someone to act as a patron of your secret society, someone who can justify your existence to the authorities. You choose Mayor Egmont. He has earned himself a fortune and made a name for himself thanks to his silver mines, and now he is the leader of the Margren Lesser Quorum. Rumour has it he is eager to get in touch with someone from the underground. If there was ever a time to meet, it is now. Oh wait, we've done this! Fucking hell. I'll be right back. Oh, here we go. Would it be best to abandon the idea of the free city of Anazot and report this meeting to Sir Philippe? Let's keep the conversation a secret. Obviously. That's where we were at the choice. In your report to Philippe, you claimed that Mayor Egmont was more careful than you expected, and your attempts to come to an agreement with him were unsuccessful. You claimed that the industrialist is putting money into the struggle for commoners' rights, but cleverly disguises it as charity. From the end of the report, you assure Philippe that you'll find a way for the secret chancellery to connect Egmont's actions to underground activities and the brewing revolt. However, you cannot do it right now. You expect Philippe to reply with a furious letter, but as the days go by, you do not receive a single word from the secret chancellery advisor. The silence feels more menacing than any threat. Oh, I'm getting rich now. You joined Egmont in a secret plot to start a rebellion in the city. Hell yeah, I did. And I'm proud of that. What you gonna do about it? Probably murder my family, I imagine. Night is falling over Anazot. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day at work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It's as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to a place of your childhood, play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you're not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It is Thomas. Now that's a surprise. Hi, Brant. Fancy running to you the moment I'm back in town. Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat, remember the old days? Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Brucey. I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile on his face starts to fade. I'm not a log walking away. You have to have the path of the nobleman to walk away anyway. Oh, not have the path of the nobleman and not be bound by friendship. Of course I'm going to go with him to dinner anyway. You give Thomas your hand. You shake hands firmly. So you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brant? That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to the tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anazot. You share family news, your quest to become noble of the swords. Your quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern. Sounds like you've had some tough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa is always in the workshop and my ma is always doing chores, but look at me. I came home at a service-class nobleman. Although it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm a captain of the Magran Legion now, and who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otten. That's right, I serve under the very same Arknian, whose toes I stepped on back in Eternia. And you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are going to end real bad. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of them barracks, Brucey. I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl and marry. She says it's high time I got hitched. It is completely dark, and you're still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas through your home neighbourhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to do all those years ago. Bye, Brant. I hardly ever come to Anazot these days. Our battalion is always on the march all over the province, but twins willing, we'll see each other again real soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. My reputation went down? Man, he's not joking, he has made enemies. Prepared for anything. You are sitting on a solitary bench in a gazebo in the Archduke's garden. Tall lanterns spread their dim glow in the cool evening air. When Gaius Tempest became the overseer of Magra, one of his first edicts granted the commoners entry to the Archduke's gardens. At the time, many Magrans saw this gesture as a sign of future change. But unfortunately, the right to visit the Archduke's garden is the only new right the commoners now enjoy by grace of Overseer Tempest. It does little to ease the burden of double taxation or the need to work the mines without gunpowder. A serpentine stone-paved road leads to the gazebo. Many flower beds are nestled in the bends and coils of the elaborate path. In the distance, on the other end of the path, you finally see Sophia's silhouette. She takes a look around, then steps over the low fence and walks to you through the flowers. I had trouble finding you here, Brant. Let's meet in one of the usual places next time. It isn't safe here. You agree, although you are sick and tired of the stuffy basement rooms and trash-filled ruins where you typically arranged to meet the leaders of the last straw cells. Okay, let's get to it. The last straw needs gunpowder. We could really use some. If we had gunpowder, we could blow up the Emperor's statue in the Golden Square, or the wall of the city armory. There's all kinds of stuff we could do. Thing is, you can't find it anymore. Even owning it is forbidden thanks to the Overseer. Magran industry has to swallow a bitter pill and trade their fancy new gunpowder for good old shovels. Except not everyone got rid of it. Lucky for us, right? That new friend of yours, Mayor Egmont, he's a resourceful fellow. He started buying gunpowder by the barrel some 20 years ago to work the mines. They still use it in his mines, but late at night so nobody finds out. There's a warehouse where they keep mountains of that stuff, Brant. We need to get our hands on it. If we can get Mayor to hand it over on his own, all the better. But if he digs his heels in, we'll just pay the warehouse a visit and grab it. Done deal. What do you say? He'll hand it over. We can't steal it anyway. And we can't report it because we don't want to anyway. Sure, I'll make a deal. It's all good. We got this. Sophia can rest easy. You promised to get her the gunpowder. Alright, Brant, I'll leave this up to you. You're meeting with Mayor Egmont in several days, for the 4th time this month, in fact. After the deal you struck in the warehouse, you have to maintain utmost secrecy every time. You arrive at the usual meeting place, the Black Bread Tavern. Thick drapes hide your table from prying eyes. Egmont is already there, ready to begin his usual dinner. Roast goose with vegetables and a pitcher of young wine. Mayor consumes his food without any obvious pleasure. Must be an old habit. After all, pleasures are forbidden to the common estate. You cannot help but imagine grandfather's outrage at seeing such a lavish feast for a lowly man. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, you get down to business. Your people need gunpowder, and you know Egmont has some. The aging businessman puts down his knife and fork and dabs at his lips with a napkin. His eyes, however, study you intently all the while. How do you know that, Brant? Who else knows what you just told me? I trust you, but can I trust your people? You assure Egmont that his secret is safe with you, but sooner or later the secret chancellery will find out about the illegal use of gunpowder in his mines and exploit it as leverage against it. The industrialist's fingers drum a nervous rhythm on the table. He sighs. You're right, the risk is too big. I suppose I'll have to keep my appetites humble, even if it means closing down several mines. As for your request, I don't think I can agree. Gunpowder will make it obvious that I was involved. I'm not going to ask how you plan to use the explosives, but you're bound to make some noise. The secret chancellery would take notice of it, and then they'll come after me for sure. But you're already plotting a revolt, you tell Egmont. This path leads to the gallows one way or the other. If the revolt fails, then there's no way to escape execution. The die has been cast. Victory or death, it's too late to be afraid of the Empire now. And when explosions shake the city, your destiny will be decided on the streets, not the dungeons of the secret chancellery. Egmont thinks for several minutes, then finally decides. Very well, Brante, you speak the truth. This is worth the risk. I'll give you 5 barrels of the powder, and get rid of the rest at once. Good luck out there, Brent. Use this weapon wisely, and be careful with it. Gunpowder is an insidious and unpredictable force. It doesn't care who or what it destroys. A few days later, you transport the barrels to your secret warehouse. No other soul must ever know where you're hiding this perilous cargo. The power of destruction now rests in your hands. You feel excitement and a touch of dread. We have the medieval equivalent of nuclear weapons now. Look at that diplomacy score. Today is a big day for the Brante family. The day your family line started. The day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the first time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since this morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. You're far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother since you cannot join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended. Yeah, he tried to murder her. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze. But at that moment, your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. I'm not, late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan's eyes his younger brother coldly. I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you cannot even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Brucey, it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You lit the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long-decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your places around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They're pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear the painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I'm in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the Empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family, the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way toward Grandfather's stone tomb, the source of the booming voice, but Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Stop it, Stefan, you're my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voices of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Of course I'm going to side with Father, even though he hates me. I mean, it'll even up how much they hate me, I suppose. He's the head of the family. And he's a nicer person than our brother anyway. Even though he hates me. You block Stefan's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante. And so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that it is part of the noble lot to acknowledge and honor seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stefan tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark you can see his face twitch. Brother, you don't understand. I'm not defying father's seniority. But I am the man who bears this duty to our grandfather. I cannot remain a mere witness while the future of our blood tide runs through our fingers. You resolutely push your brother to one side, whether he wants to or not. He will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches grandfather's tomb. So it is you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? Stefan is right. I have not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it will be my grandson. Stefan clenches his fists and whispers something to himself. I'm doing my utmost, Father. We're closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The Overseer looks upon us with favour. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true. This must be your dream too, Robert. But you still cater to your foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name, my name. Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last, get rid of that trollop Gloria and devote yourself to your true family. Otherwise you will lead our family to shame and ruin. Father hesitates for a moment. No, Father, this is impossible. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honour and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this, or keep on fighting me for all eternity. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm. But then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt. Stefan, you are the heir to this family. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. Stefan is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice. But Gloria, I can't. Stefan checks himself. I will do my duty to my family, sir. Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. You're alone again. You see tears glistening on Stefan's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. Back to zero. Back to distaste. Oh, good. Aw, bye-bye, willpower. I enjoyed having you. It has been a month since Sophia left the city on Philippe's urgent orders. You have no idea where she went. Until she returns, the last straw has been laying low. You have had to tend to the print shop all by yourself. Early morning, Father Fuad welcomes you to the print shop. He looks like he was asleep just a moment ago himself. He gets up from his makeshift bed of crates and beckons you closer with a finger. Brante, I got something to tell you, young man. So I made my rounds last night, so to speak. I stopped by a few flop houses. Had a few taverns and other dens of iniquity, and I met a young man we could use. Not sure if we can trust him, though. His name's Gustav. He told me he comes from Eterna. Says he's on the run from the secret chancellery. He insists he was with the underground there in the capital. The Lotless, they're called. They were responsible for that march of the collars 4 years back. So Gustav tells me that all the Lotless were nabbed by the secret chancellery spooks after their march. He thinks the Anazod underground could be in danger too. Trouble is, that's all he told me. He's not exactly a trusting fellow. I think one of us ought to talk to him. Find out who he is and what he knows. He looks shady, if you ask me, but maybe we could use him here. What do you say, young man? You thank Fuad for the information. You will think to yourself how to meet with Gustav yourself. Just give me the word, young man, and I'll set it up. Fuad stretches and walks off to the printing presses. You sigh, trying to steady the furious beating of your heart. Gustav was one of your trusted agents back in Etera. If he gets too friendly with the last straw in Anazot, your name will come up eventually. You do not think that Gustav ever found out that the Lotless were established on Philippe's order, but still, he knows that you were deeply involved in the march. That alone might be enough for him to dismantle your cover story here in Anazot. You need to deal with this problem as quickly as possible. Explain to him yourself? Can I do that? The Lotless at large. You save the Lotless and Eterna from a far worse fate. Yikes. I don't want to lure him to trap. That seems like a dick thing to do. Explain yourself to him. Let's do it. Let's man up. You come to a decrepit shack by the city wall. Your eyes gradually adjust to the darkness as you step inside. You see dirty drapes hanging over a small window. The floor is rotten and creaky. Gustav is sitting on the wooden crate. He's clutching a small meat cleaver. You greet Gustav with a nod. He grips the handle tighter in response. You show him your palms to prove you're unarmed. How's your old comrade in arms doing? They're happy to see him. Gustav smirks grimly. Yeah, right. I know about you and the Lotless, so don't try and play games with me. I gotta get out of this city, and you're gonna help me do it. Or I'll tell him how young Sir Brante got the commoners to march back there in the capital. You got a noble family, yeah? They'd be tickled pink, wouldn't they? You ask Gustav to put the weapon down. There's no reason to threaten you. You're here to help. The nervous man considers your words, then slowly puts the cleaver on the floor. You step closer and sit next to him. You tell Gustav that some of the Lotless managed to evade the secret chancellery. Omitting certain details, you name other members you're able to rescue from the slaughter. For all you know, they could still be fighting for the good fight in Eterna. Your struggle against the Imperial rule is far from over, you assure him. This is why you came back to Anazot to keep fighting. But I thought you just ran off, sold us out and disappeared, so... I guess I was wrong? Yes, he was wrong. You tell him about the last straw. This is bigger than the march now. You're planning a full-fledged revolt. You're organised and well-trained, and you still need people who are willing to fight for freedom. You offer Gustav a job and a place to stay. Will he join you once more? Will he keep fighting? Gustav nods eagerly. There are tears in his eyes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. I was so wrong about you, Brucey. I thought I was all alone. I thought the fight was over, and we lost. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me. I'm on your side. Our cause is just. You pat your old friend on the back. You have one last request for him, however. Gustav must never tell a soul about the Lotless, and your and Sophia's part in the march. You do not want the members of the new organisation to be discouraged by your past failures. There's no room for error now. Even the slightest mishap could ruin everything. He nods in understanding. Alright, my lips are sealed. I'll never mention the Lotless to you again, or to anyone else for that matter. You shake on it. Get a bit of eloquence there. It's still very low, but you know, I'll take it. We're going to be like 30 by the time peacetime's over. Unrest. Bigger than or equal to 5. And a stash of gunpowder. The powder keg. The air is chilly, the sun is set. You make your way toward the city walls, avoiding busy streets. There, by an old grain warehouse, you have an appointment with Sophia. She wanted to speak to you face to face. Is she afraid of being overheard? She's already there, leaning on the old wall and smoking her pipe. She greets you with a nod. I'm glad you got here quick. Listen up. We've been in Anazot for a while now. I've seen how you handle things with the last straw. I think I can trust you. I need to ask you a favour. It's for the last straw, but Philippe can never find out about it. I need gunpowder, and I need it now. I lead you to the stuff, and now I want you to tell me where they're hiding it. Nah, fuck you. You ask Sophia what she needs the gunpowder for. The young woman squints and looks you in the eye. To get people riled up. To start the revolt. Don't expect any details. You know how it goes. The longer the chain, the easier it breaks. You'll find out soon enough. For now, the question is whether you trust me or not. I do not. Just give me the gunpowder and keep your trap shut. Think you can handle that? No. No. Not doing it. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, lady. No, you cannot give Sophia the gunpowder without knowing her intentions. I helped you get that gunpowder. It's not yours. Be that as it may, it's still too dangerous. You ask Sophia why you should trust her. She purses her lips, annoyed. So that's how it is. The moon's golden reflection dances in her bottomless eyes. The dizziness knocks you off your feet. Oh man, she's going to try and enchant us? Philippe will never find out about this conversation. Remember, Brucey, a slave only gets to live as long as he's useful. The minute you aren't useful anymore, one word from Philippe will be enough to wipe you from the face of this existence. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that the Magran authorities both enforce and obey imperial law. What is the use of imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anazot nobleman who gets up on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but does that mean they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law in Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble's lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not be equal in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumours about secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Leonard, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, support Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favour. The twins themselves entrusted the noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for that very reason that the imperial laws exist. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the Empire. Cool. This is going well. Your heart is pounding madly in your chest. You gasp desperately for air, paralysed by fear. Two burly young men have just pulled a sack over your head and shoved you into a carriage. Who could have done this? Are they Philippe's men? Members of the Last Straw? Someone else with a grudge against you? Where are they taking you? Can you even hope to survive this day? Don't worry, I've only died once. The carriage comes to a stop. They drag you out, get you on your feet and force you to walk. You march down long hallways in complete silence, and at last, they sit you in a chair. Get that thing off his head. I can't talk to him like that, can I? A hand wrenches the sack off your head. Light stabs you in the eyes as you gasp for air. Once your eyes adjust, you see a dining table covered in years of dust. This is a noble mansion, abandoned long ago. The paint is peeling, and the glazed glint trim is cracked and faded. The once magnificent furniture is covered in rust and cobwebs. In the midst of this withered splendour, you see a man who is known to all, the magistrate of Anazot, Sir Remy Elverman. I suppose you've caught your breath by now, eh, Brant? Let's have a little chat, shall we? First, the obvious. I know what you are, and I know who you work for. I know your family. I have the power to ruin you and your father and everyone else you care about. If anyone hears about this conversation, I will crush you before you can blink. But I didn't arrange this meeting just to threaten you. I'm prepared to offer you something. Salvation. A glib smile spreads across Verman's face. Now, let's move on to the meat of our little tete-a-tete. You're in a real pickle, Brant. You'll never escape Philippe's iron grip. He will continue to use you as long as you remain useful, and the moment that usefulness ends, he will deem you an obstacle and eliminate you. However, I would like to extend to you an offering of protection. If you help me, I'll keep you safe from Philippe and the secret chancellery. I am aware of Philippe's scheme to obtain special authority from the Overseer. The old dog is hungry for power, but I have enough on my plate as it is. What with Elborn's prefecture and Egmont's lesser quorum. The secret chancellery is supposed to safeguard imperial rule, but instead Philippe is playing a game of his own in my city. Anazot does not need another man who treats it like a plaything for acting out his utopian fantasies. This is a disaster waiting to happen. If the secret chancellery ever gets discretionary powers, no one will ever be able to stand in its way, especially commoners like you. So here's the deal, Brant. You help me rid Anazot of the lesser quorum and all the other rebels and rabble-rousers, and I'll save you from Philippe. I already know that Mayor Egmont and his cronies are connected to your secret network, and knowing the secret chancellery, I'm quite certain you made a note of Egmont's every last misdeed. Once you have enough evidence to put good old Mayor behind bars or in a noose, bring me everything you've got on him, and the other upstarts. Philippe will be left empty-handed. With Egmont out of the picture, I'll be free to disband the lesser quorum and rule the city in peace, and then I'll finally drive Philippe out of Anazot. Which means that you will go free. I will rule as I should, and the city of Anazot will return to normal. No blood will be shed, there will be no more plotting, no more need to pretend. What do you say, Brant? Agree to the deal. Evade the question. Refuse outright. I can't do that one. Apparently. Let's evade the question. We got the willpower for it. Let's just do it. Trying to undermine Philippe and the secret chancellery would be suicide. Besides, how do you know the magistrate would not get rid of you just the same once the job is done? Of course he would. Yet the magistrate wields great power. To refuse him would make him into yet another fearsome enemy. You rise to your feet and thank Sir L. Vermin for his confidence. You're ready to cooperate, you say, but Philippe trusts no one. You are watched at all times. It will take a long time for the magistrate to get the results he wants. The magistrate nods, satisfied with your answer. A wise choice, Brante. My men will see you out, and don't forget the first part of our little chat. We never met. This never happened. You continue sending the usual reports to Philippe, and from time to time you send to El Vermin a vague letter. If the magistrate wants to believe you have agreed to the deal, you see no reason to disappoint him. Your web of lies is growing larger and more convoluted by the day, but perhaps this new connection will come in handy. Very convoluted, yeah. Man, I've made the enemies of fucking everyone. You know, I could have just, like, gone to the city, gone to the university, learned to be a judge, become a nobleman, come back, made tons of money, settled down, had some kids. Bam! You know? No, I had to make it fucking difficult for myself. just like real life. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.